In geometry, a rule that is accepted without proof is called a postulate or an axiom. A rule that can be proved is called a theorem, and you can use postulates or axioms to prove a theorem. On the third line down, you will see the segment addition postulate, and we will come to that shortly. But before we do that, let's talk about distance. The distance between any 2 points, and here we have a segment with endpoints A and B, is the difference between the coordinates of the points, and in particular it is the absolute value of the difference. When we want to indicate the length of a segment, we just write the endpoints of that segment in capitals. So we say AB equals, AB means the distance between points A and B is the absolute value of x1 minus x2. In other words, distance cannot be negative. It doesn't matter whether you do x1 minus x2 or x2 minus x1. Also, just a reminder, a point has no dimension. It is an undefined term that we all understand without having to define it. Now next we move on to the word between. In geometry, it has a very specific meaning. A point C is between A and B if it is collinear with A and B. In other words, it's on the same line. Over to the right, we see a point C1 that's not collinear, and one of the ways of figuring out or determining that it is not collinear is checking to see, can I draw a triangle with these 3 points? And here we can. So if you can draw a triangle, then those points are not collinear. We now come to the first postulate that we're learning together. It's called the segment addition postulate. And very simply what it says is that if a point X, let's say, is between the 2 points A and L, then AX plus XL, AX plus XL equals AL, meaning that the distance between points AL is equal to the sum of 7 and 4. So AL is equal to 11. This is the segment addition postulate. In order to be able to use the segment addition postulate, the 2 segments must be collinear and they must share an endpoint. Congruent segments. You will notice that segments LM and PQ have 2 little red lines, or red little segments we should say, and this indicates that both of them are congruent. Another way of writing down in geometry to show that 2 segments are congruent is this. Note, the little bar over LM and PQ indicates segment. These are segment names. This statement only indicates that the segments are congruent, meaning they have the same length. However, you do not know how long they are. The next statement that I'm about to write is stating that lengths of both segments are equal. Here they stand for numbers, and that's the big difference between the 2 notations. So you cannot interchange them.